Getting back to this technician who grotesquely overcharged this air conditioning system because he was downright ignorant, even though with more than 20 years of experience. So after the fourth tank, on this fourth tank, we were still to the point where we're pulling down to a negative vacuum, below 15 vacuum, but it was slowly decaying, 15 vacuum, 14, 13, 12 vacuum, like that, coming back up. So there was still refrigerant trapped under the oil in the accumulators, compressors, all the oil throughout the system. It's a cold days, 40s and 50 degrees. Everything turned to a small snowball up inside the unit. So even though we were in a negative vacuum, I'm doing overtime right now. It's almost 7 o'clock. I put another tank on there, put it back on the vacuum pump for the last 2 or 3 hours. And this tank is 17 pounds and 1 ounce empty. So on a system that was at basically a 15 vacuum, we are now at 26 pounds, roughly 4 or 5 ounces, something like that. Now this was a system that was in a vacuum. This is how much refrigerant gets trapped underneath the oil and cannot release when it's ice cold. It just stays there. This was a couple more hours of recovery on top of that. And I was actually recovering all the way down into 21, 22 vacuum, and just kept returning on the vacuum every so many minutes to keep it running. Because just because you could pass a vacuum test for the EPA saying it's mandatory to bring it down to 15 negative PSI in the vacuum, wait 15 minutes, and if you don't exceed coming back up under 15 PSI, you're clear to do a recovery. But in this situation, okay, you almost had 10 pounds of refrigerant trapped in oil. And then you have those technicians who are really not too smart, and they'll actually try to cut open a line that's under a vacuum with cold lines with refrigerant and suck all the moist air in. But that warm air will hit trapped refrigerant like this and cause it to explode like steam, just like a hot water heater. When you close off the pressure safety valve and you just keep pressuring over and it just explodes, well, you would have a burst of refrigerant with all the oil shooting back up out at you when you open a system under vacuum and you have this much refrigerant trapped. That warm air will hit it, merge with all that refrigerant trapped under the surface layer of the refrigerant oil, and literally blast back out in your face. And so even though it would basically pass an EPA test of minus 15, it still had 10 pounds of refrigerant trapped inside of it. And so right now, I'm just started a regular vacuum pump. This is my cheap vacuum pump. So we have the cheap, I'm not gonna sacrifice, because there's still, most likely still refrigerant trapped in the system a little bit. It's cheaper and easier to change the oil in the Steelman Mr. 45. You have the swap out containers. That's regular mineral oil for vacuum pump oil. It's only like $23 for 1 gallon. Compared to this, has that synthetic oil inside of it, and it's 4 or 6 quarts of oil. This oil is roughly $60 a quart. And I can't remember, yeah, 4 or 6 quarts inside the system here. So I rather waste this oil and pull this down into a deep vacuum with this pump. And then once this gets it pulled deep, switch over to this pump and not contaminate this pump with a rush of refrigerant. And so that's gonna be the plan on this. We're hitting the weekend. I'm not working on the weekend. This is somebody's blunderfuck, and I still have a flu. And so I'm gonna finish it off tonight with this, switch over to this. I will come back on a Saturday just to monitor it and check it, make sure the batteries are up. I'll come back on a Sunday, monitor it, keep it on. I'll keep it on over the entire weekend and change batteries so I can monitor. On my final vacuum pull, I might do it on a Sunday. I will remove the gauges. I will only have 2 True Blue high vacuum hoses attached to this, going straight to the vacuum lines. And overnight, on the last night from Sunday into Monday, I will correctly do a vacuum by only using high vacuum rated hoses directly to the line set. You are not supposed to try to draw a deep vacuum through hoses. They don't do a good job. You lose too much vacuum. There's too many chances for leaks and flaws and problems and stuff like that. You never use manifold to draw your final deep vacuum. In this case, since I'm leaving and I want to eat, I have not even had breakfast today. Trying to get this job out and others, a coffee and a Danish, and we're heading towards 7 p.m. right now. That's it for now. I'll probably give you another update either later tonight after I grab some food and bring it back here for me and Tommy, my son, to have something to eat, because he hasn't eaten all day. He's been here all day. And I'll switch over to this vacuum pump after this vacuum pump. And we're sitting at 1300 microns right now, and we'll see where we're at when I come back after lunch, or after, well, my lunch or my breakfast at 8 p.m. at night.